Hello, good evening. My name's Danny Lee. Welcome to the 4th Annual AHRC Research in Film Awards. It's been And that's vital. In times where expertise and knowledge can feel imperiled, it's ever more important to investigate, interrogate, to be inquisitive, to be curious, and to understand. And of course, these are tumultuous times for film as well, an art form which I would argue still has a unique power to draw an audience into a subject and then to challenge, to provoke and illuminate. The films that we're here to celebrate this evening have been made at the place where those two potent forces come together, the meeting point of research and film. The calendar, as we know, is filled with award ceremonies for filmmakers, but not many, I would argue, have the sense of adventure or, frankly, the significance of the Research in Film Awards. You can help us illuminate this evening's ceremony by discussing it on Twitter throughout, using the hashtag RIFA2018. But now I'd like to introduce someone who has always been the driving force, I think, behind the Research in Film Awards, the chair of the judging panel and arts editor of the Financial Times. Please welcome Jan Dally.
The need for another one, but in fact we are unique. We are the only award that really encourages and celebrates film as a research tool, as an end point of a research process, and at the same time a vital art form. And when I say vital, I really think that documentary filmmaking is vital in both senses, in the sense that it is vividly alive and growing. And I hope that you'll agree when you've seen clips of all the films tonight that it's a form in pretty fantastic health. It's also vital in the other sense of vital, vital for our world, essential for us to understand our world, to negotiate our way through it as a way of telling truth, as a way of discovering more about the circumstances in which we live. And Danny again talked about combining these two things, which might seem perhaps contradictory sometimes, the research element and the artistic element. And it can be a tricky one. I mean, some of the films we see don't do it quite successfully, but the ones that come through on the shortlist tonight, and particularly the winners tonight, I hope you'll agree, have each in their different way found a rather special way of making these two elements work and thereby enlightening us, entertaining us, and enriching us. It's our 4th year, and I think we're maturing quite nicely. It's certainly improving. We know, I think, a little more what we're looking for. The filmmakers are responding. We're getting definitely much better quality and a much bigger range of films, which is absolutely wonderful. And even in a short time, even in those 4 years, the world around us has changed, and we adapt the awards accordingly. So this year, of the 5 categories, 2 categories are new. So just to remind you, we have the Best Research Film of the Year. That's a category from last year. We have the Doctoral Award or Early Career Film, again, an enduring category. And we have the Inspiration Award, we call it, which is a public category, which is completely open to anybody. Then the 2 new ones are, I think, significant. Social Media Short, and obviously, I mean, don't need to tell you what that has become. Even in the last year or 2, it's become the reality of all our lives. And then a new category which has been wonderful to watch, People on the Move Award, Stories of New Beginnings. This is a section which addresses films about migration, about migrants in all sorts of places in the world, about, obviously there are terrible stories, there are crises, there are miseries, but there's also hope, there's also inspiration, and there's also, I hope, a strong message about how migration can be an extremely powerful and beneficial thing for all our societies. Elsewhere, we have films about everything from mining tragedies to personal photographic memories in Rwanda, from folk song on the fate of nightingales to LGBTQ issues imaginatively and sensitively investigated. We have climate change, sound design, museum collections, much, much more. It's a fantastic range. Inventive and varied and always original and interesting. So just in advance, I'm going to congratulate all the filmmakers here tonight, because whether they win or not, they've made really, really interesting work. And without more ado, I'm going to pass over back to Danny.
Thank you, Jan. I mean, it's a cliche to say that anything would have been impossible without an individual person, but it's very true in Jan's case. She's also right. I mean, the quality of filmmaking this year has been pretty remarkable. Our first award is the Best Doctoral or Early Career Film, the best film by an AHRC-funded PhD student or early career researcher, to be presented by AHRC Council Member and Executive Director of the Royal Shakespeare Company, Catherine Mallion.
Good evening, a pleasure to be here. So to get down to business, the nominations for the Doctoral Award or Early Career Film of the Year are Articulating Archives by Sophie Everest from the University of Manchester, Shelf Life by Dr. Mariana Lopez from the University of York, The Saving Tree Dr. Brett Martulis and Dr. Jessica Moye from the University of Leicester. Correspondence O by Ilona Segar of the Royal College of Art. And Sitting on a Man by Onyeka Igwe, University of the Arts, London. And here are some clips from the nominated films.
Today there were a lot of ridges we had to climb just so we could get to our watering hole. I was told we wouldn't have to go very far, yet it felt like we were walking forever. We found a nice grazing spot about halfway. There were a lot of strange monsters following us. One pointed a long brown thing at us, and then there was a loud bang. I was told to run, and when I looked back, my auntie was lying on the ground. Then the monsters took her away. I don't understand why they would do this.
Show yourself.
I step forward, my arms raised in surrender. The Father gives me a look that dampens my hopes of staying here. Please. I'm frozen. I just came here for shelter. I didn't know it was occupied.
So why don't I believe you? Nathan here knows. Why don't I believe you, Nathan?
Nathan's eyes are haunted.
Noong dumating si Undoy, maraming pamilya ang umakyat sa akin. Huwag ninyong putulin ang aking mga sanga. Huwag ninyong bawasan ang aking mga ugat para maraming ang matulungan. Para hindi ako tumumba. Kasi kahit anong lakas ng hangin, agos ng tubig, kakapit ako sa lupa. Masaya ako na maraming pumupunta o bumibisita at pinupuri dahil marami akong nailigtas.
A disjointed mesh of body parts, glass, water, rope, small moments of interactions and activities. Am I okay with this? Are you?
The performers would sometimes individually, or in twos and threes,
break into apparently impromptu steps on their own,
with great elan. There would be a good deal of the distinctively woman's gesture, in which a couple of women would spring towards each other,
one arm upraised,
and
touch hands at the top of their
stretch, in an access of joie de vivre. Again, these flashes of vital energy and excitement
struck one in the women's doings.
And the winner is Correspondence O, Ilona Segar from the Royal College of Art.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It's amazing, thank you. I had no idea.
I'm going to ask you to make a speech.
I know it's a bit of a cliche to say this, but I really, with a short list that strong, I had no idea that I would win. And I just want to thank, I had an amazing team who I think should all cheer and whoop right now. Go on. So I really want to thank Ballad of Peckham Rye, South London Gallery, the Wellcome Trust, Techne, all of whom have been very supportive with this award. And I actually just, I want to dedicate this to Stuart Croft, who was a tutor who sadly passed away. And without him, I wouldn't be able to accept this. So I think it feels right to do that now. But thank you. I was going to ask you to have your photo taken. I
If you ever wanted a sign of the authenticity of the awards, there we are. Nobody knows quite what's coming. Let's look at another clip from the winning film before we move on.
Disquiet manifest in our shared notion of a public servant. Arms synchronized, outstretched, loose and dissonant in their agreement to comply to our observed yet unruly arrangements. Breathe together our collective breath, a repository for design identities and immaterial forms. Transparent, clear, truthful traits inherent to substance or matter. Mesh screens, translucent walls.
Contribution of migration. To present the award, please welcome the hugely experienced and hugely gifted documentary filmmaker, Kim Longinotto.
Hello. The nominations for the People on the Move Award, Stories of New Beginnings, are Amukta Dominique Unsworth, University of West London, To Be Here Sam Jury, University of Hertfordshire, Che Fang, Edgetown, Austin Williams, Kingston School of Art and XJTLU Universities, Blood Sugar, Dr. Suzanne Seymour, University of Nottingham, and the last one is Untold Stories, a documentary of Kent's Black history, Helen Kirsten, University for the Creative Arts. And now we'll look at the clips.
So, do you have the necessary documents to prove the legal working status of each employee here?
Yeah.
Because it is a criminal offence to knowingly employ somebody who has no legal right to be here in the UK.
What the fuck is going on?
Don't even think about it.
Okay, look, mister. Okay, we can work this out now. If you just put the gun down, please.
He's got to
I know. Okay, just shut up. Okay, look. Okay,
what is it that you want?
I just want to go home.
Okay, there's a procedure for that. I can help you.
No. How? This bastard made me burn my passport.
Okay, it's gonna take some time. I know, but it can.
I don't have time. And I'd rather die than go home without any money. Look, I'm really sorry. I'm sorry. Okay,
okay,
don't.
If I want to work here, for example, I'm thinking to make something in my camp. I'm thinking to build a school, to teach people, for example, or to raise awareness among the people. But I see that there's nothing like a material thing to make that. I believe that if we are staying here, we have to make life better. But people say, we'll go back. But when I ask them, when are we going back to our land? No one knows anything about that. We're just having hopes. I want to do something. I want to do a lot of things, and I feel that I'm able to do that.
怎么烂的不像样？真的是永远的回忆了。哎，政府又不安排工作，又拆迁道路。
发展国家有时在发展，这个怎么说呢？啊，对，哎。 有的好，有的
不去，新的不来的。
哎，有的比原来好，有的，对吧？这个不是。
现在嘛马马虎虎呀，以后嘛还外地人还不如，为什么呢？本地人现在变成什么样了？搞绿化，搞垃圾之类的，现在变成保安，有这种情况。接下来的生活比外地人还不如了，又没田，又没好。
And we're bubbling and a boiling, sweltering and a sweating, burning and a melting, blistering, scalding onto skin. And oh, the bending back pain, breaking up the sugar cane. Chop machete, chop, 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 chop. Do not stop until you've got your sugar in the morning, sugar in the evening, sugar in the evening. One sugar or two, from me to you, enslaved nation on the plantation. What are we going to do? Yo, Mr. Sugarcane, what is my name? What is my name?
This social club here was ironically home to a young woman with a very royal connection.
Palm Cottage was once home to Sarah Forbes Bonetta, goddaughter of Her Majesty Queen Victoria. So how did she end up living here?
She's given as a gift to a British naval captain by the King of the Dahomians, a man called Gezo. And she's brought to Britain and she is presented to Queen Victoria. She then agrees to financially support Sarah Forbes Bonito. She's very well educated, she's a good pianist, she's a member of a middle class of black women in Britain.
And the winner is To Be Here, Sam Jury, University of Hertfordshire.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. My name's Rob Godman. I'm not Sam Jury. Sam Jury is currently travelling in Argentina. So travel for us, as you'll gather from this, is very, very important to us. I am a sound designer. I've been working with Sam probably for the last 2 or 3 years, and To Be Here started off as an installation work, a 4-screen installation work at the Broad in the United States. And it's later gone through all sorts of different reiterations. So we're very proud to get this award. We'd like to thank you very much, and we'd like to thank the ahrcpress. Thank you.
And let's take another look at To Be Here. And now for our third award, the Social Media Short Award. Now this is another new category for 2018, aiming to recognise the best short film made specifically for a social media platform, because of course social media is fast becoming a key tool for sharing the powerful stories and the impact of research. To present the award, I'd like to welcome BBC Television and Channel 4 reporter and presenter Sophie Morgan.
Hello and good evening. So the nominations for the Social Media Short Award are Missed Call by Victoria Mapplebeck from Royal Holloway, University of London, The Born Free Generation, Pendolani's Story and Me by Professor Paul Cook of the University of Leeds, Mobility, Mood and Place by Professor Catherine Ward-Thompson of the University of Edinburgh, Our Home by Dr. Brett Martulis and Dr. Jessica Moyer of the University of Leicester, and George Harrison, The Story of the Beatles, and the Indian music performance teaser, Shen Lu Lin of the University of Liverpool. Let's enjoy the clips from the nominations.
Can you hear this? My son Jim is nearly 14. He hasn't seen his dad since he was 2. He wants to know more about him, maybe to meet him again.
Has it been hard growing up without a dad?
No, that's just occasionally been a bit annoying. Like some things which you would do normally with a dad just don't really happen, if you know what I mean.
Jim had been asking me for a year now about whether we could make contact with his dad.
When I hear the word dad, I always do think of him.
How do you think I should make contact with him? What would you like me to do?
A text. I guess. Stop acting like a 5-year-old, maybe.
After my mother died, my uncle go to Western Cape to fetch me. When I was staying here, there was this guy who said he's my father. But he, after the time, he said, I am not your father. Anyone now, when he gets money, he eats. Don't care about other people. I think my dad didn't done his work. If he done his work, all of us must be normal. No one is have a right to be poor. Everyone must be normal. I don't think we finished the show.
Drawing on the participation of over 900 people, most of whom were aged 60 plus, our findings have implications for the way we design for people of all ages, backgrounds and abilities. These are our key findings and their implications. 4 qualities of place really make a difference to quality of life. Access for all, access to nature, access to others, and access to light. Multiple everyday things, such as pavement quality, benches, and street lighting, can make all the difference as we get older.
Tinatanggal ang putik sa patubig. Tubig na tuloy-tuloy ang daloy. Nagpapasagana ng ani, nagbibigay kabuhayan. Kabuhayan natin ang paglilinang, kaya huwag nating isuko kanino man. Sino man kailangang may kalayaan. Upang makamtan ang lupang inaasam, inaasam naming ang pagtataniman ay lupang malusog.
With great pleasure, from Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, would you please welcome Mr. Natwara Soni and Mr. Buddhadev Kansara.
And the winner is Missed Call, Victoria Mapplebeck of Royal Holloway, University of London.
Congratulations. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
So, thank you to the ahrc, and I had to bring Jim because he's the star of the show. I had to bring him with me, and I also wanted to thank. I had an amazing team of people working with me, and it was the toughest film I think I've ever made because I had to square the circle of being both filmmaker and parent, which was really tricky. And so I had an amazing executive producer in Amanda Murphy who took a lot of phone calls and was an amazingly supportive and wise throughout. Fantastic commissioner in Adam G. Who was always very discerning editorially and spot on. So that really helped. But the big thanks goes to Jim for who was amazing. And he was also not only star of the show, but sort of co-collaborator, because our composer dropped out and he recorded the final end credit sequence on GarageBand, gave me the rights for a price of a pair of trainers, which I thought was a good deal. So thank you so much. Yeah. Appreciate it. Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's take another look at Missed Call.
Feels like the journey to connect with him just never stops. It's like literally infinite, and you're always trying to find new angles to kind of, you know, see what works and see what doesn't. Even if I think it goes well, I'm still going to be sad.
Okay, good to talk to you, and I'll look forward to hearing from you soon. Take care then. Cheers then. Bye-bye. Bye.
It could go so many different ways, you know. There's so many options which could happen, you know.
Yeah.
That's why we're going to have a long review of it, and I'm going to review it, and so are you.
God, you're so sensible and mature. Where did it come from? I don't know. Got it from my dad.
No.
Yeah. Your mother.
I also just want to give a big thanks to Sophie, actually, who helped us choreograph the running order for this evening, which is harder than it looked, or at least we were making it that way. Now to our next award, the Inspiration Award for the best film inspired by the arts and humanities in the last 12 months. An inspiration that could come, for instance, from a literary festival, from an exhibition, or a poem. This is a public category, and it's the only one of our awards not restricted to academic entries. To present the award, I'd like to welcome the chairman of ITV. He's also a board member of UK Research and Innovation, a new organisation bringing together partners including the ahrc. We may now applaud Sir Peter Bazalgette.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everybody. The nominations for the Inspiration Award public category are Edward Woodman, David Bickerstaff in collaboration with the Art 360 Foundation. Secondly, Their Rancid Works Stagnate Our Ponds, Andrew Cotting. Blackbird, Dr. Jamie Chambers. Singing with Nightingales, Katie Stacey and Luke Massey. And the fifth is Give Me Today, Anytime, George Harris. Let's see the clips.
He has such a great eye, and he's very shy, Edward, and very calm. You could see he was just considering everything and, you know, using his fantastic eye to find the right spot. And it's curious in the piece, the words that define gravity, because the word that's caught mid-air says specific. And we're talking about specific gravity. And I think all the other words are blurred, but that was the one. Everybody thinks it's kind of photo montage, but it's not.
些我会印尼破鞋。也比旧年是要我的些。破鞋。不是破鞋年纪末也有些啊。
When two lovers meet down beneath the green bower, when two lovers meet down beneath the green tree, they're merry, lovely Mary exclaimed unto her darling.
Nightingales have a repertoire of around 150 to 250 different song note phrases and sounds, and they use them in a very improvisatory way where they'll sing a phrase, and then often there'll be a leitmotif that they'll come back to several times. You'll hear them rotating through, but they'll be throwing in different combinations of song, and they'll sing like a breath, as it were, and then there'll be a stop and there'll be silence, and then they'll sing again. So there's a real on-off quality to it. For me, it's, you know, singing with nightingales is about introducing an extraordinary bird with his incredible song.
It was really a family meal in those days. Mum used to get it there with tears with its glassy holes for eyes looking at us out of a big dish.
And the winner is Give Me Today Anytime, George Harris. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Are we going to do a photo?
I'll ask you to say a few words first.
A few words first.
Okay.
Well, we'll put this down, right? Well, first of all, we're just absolutely thrilled to win this award, because when we set out on a project was called Walking in Other Footsteps, and the idea was all based around this remarkable oral history archive that's kept at the Regional Heritage Centre at Lancaster University. That was the starting point. And we were creating a wide-ranging project, but the way Mirador, which is an arts and heritage company that I'm part of, we like to distill a wide range of work into one thing that tells the whole story. And the only thing that I could think of was, how do you create this link from the past to the present? And film is a wonderful, absolutely wonderful way of doing that. And we also had these, and what I can only say is what made this film possible are the remarkable voices that are captured on that archive. And Elizabeth Roberts would have liked to have been here tonight, but she is now in her mid-80s, and she just didn't fancy the commute across town from Lancaster. But she captured these voices. I'm sorry to go on, but it's remarkable. She captured these voices of people who were born pre-welfare state. And a lot of them were women's voices. And this film, again, has been possible because of these women, Dr. Elizabeth Roberts, Dr. Sam Riches, and Dr. Fiona Edmonds, who allowed us to access this marvellous archive of these people who had nothing. They were so poor, huge families, very low incomes. But when you listen to their voices, these are not damaged people. These are not people that have anything other than fantastic spirit. So our film had to capture that spirit, but by interviewing people today. And it is only possible because this chap who stood here, we produced the film, but Tom came up with this wonderful, Tom Diffenthal came up with the idea of how we would create the past to the present. Do you want to say a few words, Tom? Go on, Tom.
I won't say
a few, Tom.
I'll just say thanks to George for putting his trust in us, and it was myself and my friend and colleague John who couldn't make it here today because of a freak accident involving a beck in the Lake District. He has twisted his ankle and he's on crutches. But yeah, thank you very much.
Lovely.
Oh, yeah.
Well done. Now, come here. Let's have you for a photo. There we go.
Very much indeed.
And let's take another look at Give Me Today Anytime.
I think we're all doing this thing where we're just in our own little bubbles now, especially because we live quite in the city centre, and the city's terrible for people like making any sort of effort towards other people. You just don't see it.
That's where we've got to get back to, is get off the phone, sit down and go and talk to your neighbour, go and help your neighbour.
I know this sounds, and maybe it's not the reason, but I have seen it fragment round here slowly but surely over this time. And whether it is because of the gentrification of the local pub or whether it's because of the buy-to-let, culture that we're in, it's changed. So those friendly faces, because the turnover's quite quick, so people will be in a house for 6 months, then they'll leave. So like down this road now, I probably only know a handful of people because it changes and people keep themselves to themselves.
And now for our fifth and, bizarrely, it's our final award. It's gone so quickly. The Best Research Film of the Year, the best film produced by a researcher or research team in the last 12 months. To present the evening's final award, a filmmaker and theatre director who was also a founding board member of Channel 4, please welcome Roger Grafe.
Because it's the final award, I'm going to just take the liberty of commenting on the awards because I didn't know anything about them until I was asked to present one of them. And I've learned a lot tonight, and I've learned a lot from watching the films that were in this category. And every film that we make is obviously its own little world. And the research that we do to make our films usually doesn't show. We kind of do it for sometimes years, but when we make the film, we kind of are in the moment of what we're doing. And what I congratulate the HRC and Jan and the awards judges for doing is actually drawing attention to the research itself, making the research the star. And that's really original. And you said, Danny, and you said there are many arts awards and many films awards, but this is original. And so I congratulate you all for doing that. Thank you very much for asking me. Now, the nomination for the Best Research Film are The Born Freak Generation, Fendulani's Story and Me, Professor Paul Cook, University of Leeds, Black Snow, Professor Stephen Andrew Linstead, University of York, The Faces We Lost, Dr. Piotr Cieplak, hope I've got that right, University of Sussex, Now Circa 1918, Professor Riddell Olson, Royal Holloway University of London, and Grenfell Tower and Social Murder, Dr. David Scott, The Open University. Let's see the clips, please.
A safe park is a safe space where vulnerable children get a meal for the day. to kind of concentrate in school or to just not be hungry. In some of these communities, it's almost like your life is already mapped out for you. You'll get pregnant at 16, you'll live off government grants, and that's all you'll ever be until you're an old person in the cycle.
What we've been doing is running a filmmaking project, getting them to make films about some of the issues that they think particularly affect their society, that they think the world should know about.
So the Leeds project came in to be housed by the Youth Committee project, where we work with the various safe parks to establish youth committees within the safe park.
That's me, stricken. My mum, what's to do? All I could think was run lass, grab squawking Ben, and run to Pit-top. Throw this then at Lord's mercy, though he's shown little on it in my life. This valley and this scene has took hundreds of lives, and more today. But please, not mine. I come to this shattered hole, shivering, with cold and fear, a babe at my breast, smoke and flames searing sky, and my Tom. Is he in heaven or hell? Or has he somehow surfaced?
Niba ari n'icyo ngiye gukora nakagombye kumugishaho nk'inama abaye ahari nshobora kubivuga mbwira ya foto nkumva ko iyo noneho nkibwira nti iki kintu reka ngikore gutya. Nari umwana ukubagana cyane ariko maze kumva ko yatuzaga ndavuga reka nanjye nge ntuze. Iyo tuganira n'umuntu ashobora kukubonaho iki kintu akavuga ati uritonda cyane kubera iki, ukamusubiza uti ukamubwira impamvu nyine, akakubwira ati se ubikura nkabwira nti mbikura kuri papa wawe, ati nyereka papa we turebe, nkamwereka ifoto akambwira ati pe nawe ndabona yitonda.
Throw the die in this, don't die of it. Heading all the way out, Epsom Downs. No spike pierces my tongue. King's horse for Skoll's bridle. Scarf with the colours in the pocket. Rope halter led to market. No one is going to exhibit me like any other beast. No wife sails for me. I'm nobody's property. Come, body besses in your sea green dresses. Vengeance is mine.
I think it will take many years to understand the range of harms that have been produced by the fire. Some of the harms are very readily and easily apparent, but many of the harms associated with what happened that night will unfold over many years. We know, for example, there was asbestos in Grenfell Tower, so local residents were exposed to asbestos. We know local residents were exposed also to cyanide, hydrogen cyanide, because that was found in the bodies of some of the deceased, and some of the residents who didn't die were treated for cyanide poisoning that night. So both exposure to both those substances will have long-term effects. Asbestos cancer, for example, can take 30 to 40 years to unfold. There are also searing emotional and psychological harms produced by what happened that night.
Right. Now, and the winner of Best Research Film of the Year is Black Snow, Professor Stephen Andrew Linstead, University of York.
Wow. Somebody pinch me. I just feel like I need to wake up, yeah. Thank you so much to the ARC for this. This film was a really emotional journey for everybody involved in it. Some very ordinary people did some incredibly extraordinary things, both 150 years ago and a couple of years ago, in trying to memorialise it. And there was a real challenge to how we could make the archive live. We'd got lots of archive material, and it was an ex-miner who helped us to do that, Alan Andrews, who created all of the virtual reality for us. So I do want to thank him. I particularly want to thank also sorry, Andy Lawrence, who was my co-producer on this, and without him I just couldn't have done it. The National Union of Mine Workers and the charity People and Mining were the movers of this project, who deserve immense thanks. They persuaded the Heritage Lottery Fund, who gave us the funding to make the film. And apart from these wonderful awards, the AHRC also gave us a little bit of money so that myself and the musical director, Jed Grimes, could actually create a 90-minute roadshow so that we can take the film out on the road and get it into as many communities as we can in the post-industrial areas where that the spirit still lives on that made those communities hang together. They're still very buoyant, but they do feel forgotten. And this award will help us to remember that they're still there, and the film's not about the past, it's about the future. So thank you very much.
And let's take another look at Black Snow, the Best Research Film for 2018.
I were at home with youngest of me 8 bairns when Oaks exploded. It blasted coal from deep in belly of earth up to sky, turning clouds ghastly grey and dropping its terrible death-laden soot on farms in Cudworth as they stood terrified in their frozen fields as far as 5 miles away, they said. Black snow, strange, silky soft, bloody. A touch of hell to make thee tremble, a black-hearted, a deathly day.
I've got mine history going back 180 years plus in this area, so it's a sculpture I thought I was born to make. The poignant thing is that when I was going through the records, I found out that Ibbison was on the list of fatalities of the Oaks 150 years ago, and I worked it back. My great-great-great-granddad Joe Ibbison had a brother called George who actually died in this colliery.
So we are sadly almost at the end of the evening, but I would like to welcome one more person on stage for closing remarks. Senior Independent Member of the AHRC Council, please welcome Sir Drummond Bone.
Danny, thank you for hosting us this evening, and thank you for hosting us for the past 4 years.
Pleasure.
It's been terrific. It scarcely seems a year since the last time. It scarcely seems 4 years since we started this, and 5 since Jan Daly really had the idea to do this. So again, thanks, Jan, for being the funds at Origo of this event. It's always an enjoyable evening, but it's much more than enjoyable. At least I hope it is, and I think it is tonight, particularly perhaps. It's interesting, it's inspiring. Some of the stories are in some way frightening, but frightening, I hope, in a constructive sort of way. And the key thing, as Roger was saying, which we're trying to do, is to marry research and the skill of the film and video makers together to help us get the importance of the research that's happening across to the widest possible world. Things have changed. Obviously, we've got 2 new categories this evening. We've got People on the Move, and we've got the Social Media Shot Award. But in the 4 years as well, the Arts and Humanities Research Council's proud to say we're now funding 9 creative industry clusters right round the country. There's terrific geographical spread. They're just coming underway, so that's progress as well. All that really remains for me to do is to thank everybody who's been involved this evening. Jan and the judges, of course, our presenters for the presenters and the judges, indeed, for giving of their time and their expertise so very generously. BAFTA for hosting us this evening. Again, that helps us get that mix of academic researchers and industry professionals together in this room. It's wonderful to see so many of you here. And of course, all the filmmakers. Not just even the shortlisted people this evening, but all those who actually entered. It's been, I know, a hard work for the judges, and it's wonderful to see this event going from strength to strength, and that's down to you, the researchers and the filmmakers. So thank you very much. And thank you too to all the supporters who've attended this evening. We're going to see a montage of the winners, and then we're all going to go to the David Lean room and have a drink and something to eat. Thank you again. Daniel, thank you.
I was so great to see you.
Just a final word of thanks to our own team at the HRC, Mike Collins and Julia, and the comms team in particular. Thank you for organising this evening.
We have now come to the end of the evening, and for pretty much everyone in the room, this is the moment where, as Drummond says, please now do go and have a drink, mingle, talk, celebrate, enjoy the evening. For the winning filmmakers, however, there is a sting in the tail. If I can invite you back on stage, have one more photograph taken collectively. But everyone else, please, enjoy your evening.